You likely have an age gap management challenge inside of your practice, and you may not even realize it. There is a huge swath, a huge difference in the perspective of how people see the world, and therefore how they must figure out how to work together and how you need to figure out how to lead people appropriately in running your business. We're diving in deep right now.
This is The Rare Advisor, proud to be a part of the Advisor Advancement Network and home of a business model supercharged by recurring and repeatable events. Your host is Mike Walters, CEO of USA Financial. He is an investment advisor representative of and securities are offered through USA Financial Securities, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Hey, in a previous discussion, I talk about the next-gen woes and opportunities and kind of the washout factor and things that you have to consider when you're identifying either A, who your next gen is going to be, or if you are the next gen, making sure that the grooming process is supporting you appropriately so that you actually can hit the ground running and can grow the practice once the lead generation or the first previous advisor ahead of you has departed, and you're actually growing the practice to the next level. And you've probably got skin in the game. You've probably made some acquisitions and so on. Now, the challenge that goes beyond that, and that also then gets overlaid with the discussion on managing employees and different age ranges and so on, is the fact that there is a bigger gap in terms of core principles, I guess, for lack of a better word, a bigger gap in the core philosophies of what people believe and what they hold dear. There's a bigger gap in the ages than has ever historically been recorded. So if you're looking at baby boomers, say age 60 and above, and you're looking at Gen Z, age 30 and below, the gap, the difference in how they think and see the world is more dramatic than it's ever been before. I did discuss some of this on the previous trending report from more of a market standpoint. Today, I just want to talk to you more at the managerial level because it is a big issue that is not going away, and it can make those age gaps very difficult to deal with in the workspace. I hate this subject, by the way. I just hate it because people are people and every individual is different and every circumstance is different. So these are huge generalities. But there's no doubt that we've had frustrations amongst age groups. Whether it's, politically, socially, how we interact with technology, right on down the line. It's, for the most part, it can create a jovial scenario, something you can joke about, pick on me, the old guy, whatever it might be. But at its core, it can create some problems. So there's some data from Axios. That is a website, a news site that you're probably well familiar with. This is some article, and some of the data is coming from May 21 of 24. It's again out of Axios, and the main article that you might want to go check this out is called "Jarring Generation Gap: America is Divided on Values, Economics, and Politics." And why this matters is, as I was pointing out, if you're running a successful organization, if you're trying to sell a product or a service, you have to understand these nuances. That's the nature of the discussion here. So what I'm going to do is I'll flash some of these up there for you, but really I'm going to talk you through this. So there are different charts showing the differences of how people think based on ages. Generation Z versus baby boomers. So again, under age 30 versus over age 60. On patriotism, the vast majority of baby boomers believe patriotism is important. 76% of them say it's important. Only 32% of next gen thinks it's important. Not next gen, Generation Z. Belief in God or religion. 65% of baby boomers think it's very important. Only 26% of Generation Z thinks it's important. Having children, over half of baby boomers think it's important. Less than a quarter of Gen Z thinks it's important. Who thinks America is the best place to live? 2/3 of baby boomers think America is the best place to live. They agree with that statement. Only 1/3 of Gen Z agrees with that statement. If you want to go political, and I'm not going to dive into it. I have my opinions. I'll leave those to myself. But the older you are, the more you support Israel. The younger you are, the more you support the Palestinian side of things. And it literally just goes like angles in terms of age. Ding, 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 ding. More support. Ding, 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 ding. Less support. So ages 18 to 29. So that under age 30, those Gen Zs, the vast majority of them respond to supporting Palestine. When you look at age 60 and above, age 65 and above as well, the vast majority of them support Israel. So just differences across the board. If we then jump over to capitalism, this is the one that does probably scare me more than anything else. Capitalism versus socialism. The majority of older people, by a significant margin, believe that capitalism is a positive thing and it's the way to go. That reverses at the younger ages. They believe socialism. So if we're looking under the age of 30, the highest ranking are saying socialism is their preferred. Well, they view it positively, I guess is the better way to say it. They view socialism positively, whereas older people obviously do not. And then the older generations view capitalism positively, and a smaller percentage, by a dramatic amount, of the younger generation views capitalism positively. And then when you sum it all up, in the end, if I'm going to get to the page, this is kind of a ranking of countries. Each one of those blue lines represents a country. And the ranking is on happiness. And this is something that's done by the World Happiness Report every year. That's actually a significant thing. They track kind of the overall essence of the globe and what parts of the world people are doing well, what parts of the world people are not doing well. Of people over the age of 60, they rank the United States, or the United States ranks as the 10th happiest country. So of the older people, they believe that they are living in the right place in the United States. And they, compared to other populations, we rank ourselves very highly in the age 60 and above. I say we, I'm not age 60 yet, but the older ages rank ourselves very highly as being happiness and the place to live, the 10th highest ranking country in the globe. Ages 30 and below, given the same ranking opportunities, rank us number 62 in terms of happiness across the globe. And if you were to look at the countries that are above the United States, so the countries that are above the United States, ranking on age 60 and above, are probably the countries you would expect to see there. The countries for the younger generation ranking above the United States in terms of the people feeling they're living in the right place and they're happy, they are countries that have no business ranking higher than the United States. They're countries that if you actually move there, you would be miserable. So it is a very different lens, a different perspective that people are seeing things in. Now, why am I dwelling on this? I'm dwelling on this because I want you to understand, and if you're in your 50s and older like I am, I want you to believe that there is truly a different view of the world by your younger employees. Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean it's wrong. Doesn't mean you got to argue about it. Doesn't mean you have to, bring politics or religion into your business. But what it does mean is you have to understand as a manager, as a leader, that people are not seeing the world, seeing the opportunities, seeing the employment experience the same way you do. Now, you can decide what you want to do with that. You can carve off a very specific niche and people have to fit into that. Or you can take a very wide berth and just realize you're going to have a lot of discrepancy and that can lead to some interesting situations in the building. Or you can find some kind of a happy mixture in the middle. I think transparency is important. I think people have to understand what you're trying to accomplish, why you're trying to accomplish it, and how you're going about doing so. And you need to share those plans openly. That is the one thing I will tell you that will adhere you, in my humble opinion, to the younger generations quicker than anything is simply being transparent and honest with what it is you're trying to accomplish. Whether they agree or disagree, the fact that you are putting it out there for them will oftentimes get the conversation rolling and get people in agreement. So that's kind of the way we go about it here at USA Financial, but you need to determine what's the best formula for you.
This information is for licensed financial professionals only and is not intended for use in soliciting sales from the public. The views expressed represent the opinions of the presenter or their featured guest, not necessarily those of USA Financial or its affiliated subsidiaries. Industry references are generic and not intended to represent actions or beliefs of any individual or entity. Content is only presented to illustrate general principles, beliefs, or ideas and should not be construed as legal or regulatory advice. Trademark and copyright protected. USA Financial and Affiliates.